Did you see that, Zach? Clear as a crisp spring morning. R-E in the coffee. I knew I could count on it. It never fails.
So today on the Survival Horror Corner, we finally get to the series synonymous with the genre, arguably the series that started it all, Resident Evil. Now I have a lot to say about this game, well shit, this series in general, so let's get started. Resident Evil, or Biohazard in Japan, was released for the PlayStation in 1996. It was also released for the Sega Saturn, PC, Nintendo DS, and on the PSN. I'll talk about the other ports later, but for now I'm focusing on the PS1 versions.
No! Don't go!
I assume everyone knows about this game, at least to some degree. I mean, how can you not? The series is the forefront of the genre, or at least it was. Like, you can argue games like Sweet Home or Alone in the Dark are where the genre starts, but this game really paved the way for survival horror for years to come, and it's easily one of my favorite series and games in general. This game is a legend. Behold.
I don't know what happened.
Barry! Where's Barry?
Okay. I know what you're thinking. Orion, what the fuck is wrong with you? This game looks and sounds like shit. But under this baby's age, it's still a damn good game. People who say this game didn't age well sound like fucking idiots. Sure, graphically it doesn't hold up, it's almost 20 years old, but the core mechanics hold up well. First off, the controls. Obviously they're tank controls. I'm gonna address this really quick. Tank controls aren't dated or flawed, they're intentionally implemented. They aren't used to create a sense of lack of control to increase the scare factor, or if it is, it's a byproduct. Tank controls are used because of the amount of changing camera angles. Have you tried playing a game with 2D controls with a lot of camera angles? You end up looking like a fucking idiot. So anyway, the controls are damn good. You start and stop in a split second. The only major flaw is a lack of a quick turn. The gameplay still stands strong as a great survival horror game. Your ammo is limited, so there's a heavy emphasis put on dodging enemies, and that's something you're gonna have to get good at. Boss battles are a bit easy though. The puzzles aren't really puzzles at all. Like, if you have a brain, you can most likely figure this shit out. On the other hand, a really cool concept is examining items in order to obtain key items. It's a little underutilized though. Graphically, the game is pretty dated. The character models are pretty and something about the backgrounds don't hold up. Like, the later games' backgrounds are still awesome, but here they look pretty muddy. The voice acting, what's there to say? It literally has a world record for the worst voice acting in a game.
Oh, Jill, this house is dangerous. Ouch!
It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take it with you.
Let's separate again.
Just a moment. I found something.
What is it?
Whoa.
But it still has that charm. Every time I hear it, it puts a smile on my face. Seriously, at this point it's something I really enjoy hearing.
There must be a back door somewhere.
But how about you, Barry?
I have this.
Oh, Barry!
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right.
I can't believe... What the hell is this place anyway?
Whoa! What is it?
What? Oh no!
Half the experience is hearing it. I don't understand how it's seriously that bad though. Like, some of the line deliveries are just so awful.
Yes, I'm Rebecca Chambers.
Well, some of these things do draw you out of the experience. The core gameplay is fucking stellar. Also, I know that I said that, and in survival horror, I'd say atmosphere and story are the two most important elements. And I'm gonna amend that statement. Atmosphere and gameplay are the two most important things. While having a good story isn't essential, it really helps the game overall. I bring this up mainly because Resident Evil has a good atmosphere and is fun to play, but the story, let's be honest, the story's pretty lame. Fucking T-Virus, G-Virus, Tricell, Umbrella, what's the difference? It's more or less just about a deadly virus that makes zombies and monsters out of people, and
Umbrella was behind everything.
it's more or less there just for the sake of being there. Getting back to this game specifically, this now isn't scary. Like when I was a kid, this shit terrified me. I'm serious. I was afraid to be in a basement by myself for a while because of this, but now it's lost its luster. The enemy design is good though. It's hard to say that over the low resolution of the PS1, but the overall design is haunting, especially the fucking chimeras. Jesus, these rooms so caused me to panic. And that FMV when you first see the zombie was pretty insane. Overall, the atmosphere is decent, but it isn't too scary. The sound design is competent. The soundtrack is pretty good, except for the greatest hits version. It sounds like balls. The enemy sounds are mixed. The zombies and dogs are kind of goofy sounding now. But the hunters and chimeras are still chilling to hear. Just the shrieks they make are just so tied to impending doom. And the sounds of them catching up to you just freaks me out. There are two playable characters, Jill and Chris. Generally they're pretty similar, but there are some differences. Jill pals around with Barry, which he helps out a lot. She can hold 8 items and gets the bazooka, although she can't take as much damage as Chris. Chris, on the other hand, has quite a few more handicaps. He bros out with Rebecca, which he has to save. He can only hold 6 items and doesn't get a bazooka. I tend to think of Chris as hard mode while Jill is easy. In Jill's scenario, you learn that Wesker is a traitor and is holding Barry's family hostage to get him to help Umbrella. With Chris, you only learn of Wesker betraying you. While there are technically 6 endings, there's really only 3. The best ending, you save your buddy and save the other main character and blow up the mansion. The good ending, you save your pal but not the other main character and blow up the mansion. The bad ending, you only save the other main character and don't blow up the mansion. Overall, the difficulty's at a good level. It's not insanely hard, but it's not a game you just play all willy-nilly. You really have to get good at dodging around the enemies. And there's quite an emphasis put on the survival aspect. Who would have thought? The only thing cheap about the enemies is they don't affect each other. If you get grabbed with more enemies around you, expect to literally get fucking destroyed. Since enemies don't bump into each other, it's just a goddamn field day for the Zambambos. Now I'm just gonna talk about the different versions of other random tidbits of shit I know about this game. For starters, there's a shit ton of versions of this game. There are 3 on the PS1, you got the original, Director's Cut, and Greatest Hits. Director's Cut was the game we got to tide us over until Resident Evil 2. It offered alternate costumes and a new advanced mode which moved all key items around to give a new experience. It also came with an RE2 demo disc. The Greatest Hits version just fucked the soundtrack, but it's the same as the Director's Cut. There's a version for the Sega Saturn which kind of improved the graphics. Other than that, it just added a battle minigame. The DS version has a lot of new added features. It added a rebirth mode, which is kind of like the advanced mode, a first-person knife mechanic. It finally added a quick turn, and you can skip the door animations. It's really awesome. It also apparently has a multiplayer. The graphics are actually worse in some ways. The backgrounds are even worse, but the 3D models have more polygons, giving them a much better model, but with lower detail. I haven't had that much experience with this version, but it seems really awesome. A few random things about this game. The game was initially planned as a first-person shooter, but with the PS1's limitations, it was a no-go. A really cool detail is when the hunter slashes you, it gets blood on its claws, which is a small but awesome detail. Lastly, this game was considered a sequel or a remake to Sweet Home, one of the first real survival horror games for the Famicom. So overall, the game is pretty good. It runs and plays well, and the voice acting is so bad it's good at this point.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
The sound design and graphics are okay. While I wouldn't recommend skipping this game, the remake, which I'll get to later, really is a hell of a lot better. It can stand in the place of it. Even the DS version you could substitute it for. And I might even argue the DS version is a definitive version of the original. So, check in for the next part we get to the fan favorite. Fuck you. Ah!